Russia is obviously not a country where the rule of law exists. It's an authoritarian regime in which the judicial system is not independent and where the president basically does whatever he wants. And we know the tactics used by Vladimir Putin of threats and pressures, eliminating journalists and critics overseas, annexing his neighbors, and when he wants to get a hacker back to Russia, basically putting his hands on an Israeli tourist that obviously had no intention of smuggling drugs within Russia, and imposing a 7.5 sentence, which is completely absurd. But when it comes to Israel, obviously, it was a dilemma for Israel, because for Israel it's important to keep some kind of good relation with Russia because of the war in Syria, and Israel needs to have a free hand to act against Iranian targets in Russia. And therefore, for Israel, it's also a matter of national interest to keep a relation with Russia that are as good as possible.
And what do you make, of course, of all the timing of this? Many people are mentioning that the elections are coming up here in Israel. What will Benjamin Netanyahu have to gain from this? And, is it just a political stunt?
Look, at the end of the day, I think the most important is really that Naama is being released, and that's really what I think we should care about. Whether or not it's going to help Netanyahu, at the end of the day, look, if you look at the polls, Netanyahu does not have a 61 right-wing majority without Lieberman. All the latest polls show that both the left-wing and right-wing blocs are even at 56, which is short of a majority. And I don't think that the release of Naama Issachar, which is obviously very welcome, is going to have any impact or influence on the result of these elections. And don't forget that the elections are in another month, and it's actually a very long time in Israeli politics, because people forget very quickly. And at the end of the day, when people are at the polls, they vote according to what they think that very day, what happened a month ago. And the bottom line is that I think we should welcome the release of Naama Issachar and forget about trying to interpret and think how is it going to play into the election.